This is the most magical way to create reality, in my opinion, and why so many people shouldn't really stress so much, stress as little as possible, but rather go in into any kind of creation. After having set aside their mama drama panorama, as I call it, um, to just simply wonder what it would be like to live a scenario without any interruptions. And whether, it has to do with a specific person, a relationship of some kind, money, or whatever, you can just sit down right now and fantasize about any scenario whatsoever. You don't need permission from anybody. And the scenario will replicate itself in your reality. In other words, I can sit here and imagine a certain kind of a person, a certain kind of person who has certain kind of traits, maybe makes a certain kind of money in a specific person's case, looks a certain way, smells even a certain way, lives in a certain area. I mean, all of it. And you can create this character that will join your movie. I've done this so many different ways. It's so much fun. Now, it's obvious, it becomes obvious that it's like the quality of the experiences that you begin to offer yourself when you do this consciously, right? Because what people come into coaching to me for, and whether they realize it or not, um, is not necessarily specifically to fix this specific person issue. It's to actually fix their worldview on the power that they have so they can apply it to anything. It doesn't have to be just specific. I know people salivate after the subject more than anything, and I understand completely because I've been there. But it is a much broader conversation because you realize it's not that it's hard, it's that you're making it fucking hard. Why? You're gonna have your own story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. But so if you can disembark and just suspend your disbelief, as they say, I think Neville said that. Maybe somebody else, I don't know, at this moment in time. Um, Suspend entirely, just like a child. I love watching like cartoons. Sometimes I grew up on Tom and Jerry and this and that. It's just like that. I love watching Ratatouille, that movie, like Aladdin, I just watched the other day, just because it really is easy, and any movie for that matter. But, to me, like cartoons carry this lightheartedness. You can create anything in a 3D the same way like a cartoonist would. You could just sit down, write it down, whether that's, again, a new person that does not exist, quote unquote, in your reality yet, or somebody who's already existing and you simply want a turnaround, okay, in their behavior, in their whatever. You come in with simple curiosity, just like, I really want to experience such and such. I really want to absorb that reality. So when you observe and therefore absorb this reality, you touch it. It becomes a part of you. And so the idea is, when you touching that reality, though, it's like a certain kind of energy is going to come from that reality, a certain kind of aura. And when you're in that aura, you will know. There are no words to explain it. But when you're there, you know. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but the surroundings are still the same, but you feel differently. You feel like a brand new person. Okay? And so the more you go into that aura, into that world, into that feeling, however you want to express it and label it, it becomes more one with you. And you're starting to flesh it out until, like, you don't need to believe it. You just need to tap into that world, simply by contemplating lightheartedly. Like, what would that experience be like to rendezvous with such and such person? Like, what kind of feelings automatically that produces within you? Just trust your first impression. Don't question, don't barricade it. Like, the first thing that comes to mind, the first energetic response out of you, and that is true, by the way. The barometer speaks well in this case. If, like, you're wondering what you're sending out right now towards a specific person or another area in your life, just ask it, what's my first impression when I think about it? And what is your first impression when you're creating something new or a new version of something or someone? And so it becomes your collaboration with the universe. When you're giving it some notes, it will all, I mean, it will go above and beyond for you. It will orchestrate something completely, truly magnificent on your behalf. But that you need to give it something to work with, some kind of a new tonality, some kind of a new impression. What you've done before, maybe you're not that excited about today. But if you want to introduce a new thing, you got to go visit it often. And you most certainly have to know what it feels like to be there, because you know exactly what you want. When you know exactly what you want, it produces a certain kind of frequency. Go there often enough and produce that in full flash. Just, as much as you're ready, the universe is giving it to you, vibrationally speaking. So that's the whole shebang. But that you could produce, I mean, just about any fucking scenario, any version of that person. The limitation that you're putting on yourself is entirely yours. I'm sure you've heard this before. By having the reference point from the past being the only possibility for you. So that's, again, really hard to put into words. Everybody's on their own journey, as it were. And you will feel when it really clicks in with you that, you know what, that was just one way to live, one way of perception, one way of feeling, one way of vibrating. On the other side of that is a world you perhaps have never felt, met, seen, touched. But this is exactly why you should completely suspend your disbelief and let your imagination run wild. Like, do you have anything better to do other than dream big? Because those big, huge, gigantic dreams, guess what? I mean, today they're huge, gigantic dreams. Tomorrow, they will be your ordinary life.